All right, folks, Gender Social Norms Index, they had a report that revealed no improvement in biases against women in a decade. These results include biases in the workplace, the home, and the communities, which I find interesting and unbelievable, really. To discuss these findings this morning, we're joined by UNDP resident representative for Jamaica, Belize, Bermuda, the Cayman Islands, the Bahamas, and Turks and Caicos. Ooh.
A mouthful.
Do you sleep at all? Good morning. Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Thank you very much.
My name is Denise Antonio. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I can't complain at all. Give thanks. How did you get this position in the first place? What did you have to do to get
Oh, my goodness.
Where did you start?
So my career, I'm a certified public accountant. And I started this career, of course, starting in Secretariat, the United Nations headquarters in New York, working in peacekeeping accounts as a peacekeeping officer. And then I went into Cote d'Ivoire in West Africa, and then UNDP decided to ask me to come over and join them.
Well traveled.
And then I started working in UNDP as a deputy resident representative for operations, more responsible for, the operational side of the organization. Make a long story short, a couple of years later, applied for an assessment. It's a global assessment that's done in UNDP, and I made it through. And I became a resident representative.
Congrats, and you're Liberian.
Yes, I am.
Michael Jackson was
Liberian girl.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
And good to see that you've been able to rise through the ranks in your career. This report is telling us that there are a lot of women who have not been able to do that in a decade.
Yes.
A decade of stagnation?
Yes.
Does that surprise you at all?
It surprises me, but of course I'm not surprised too much. Why? Because we have to keep in mind that our social norms haven't changed. It hasn't evolved a lot. And we have to start from the grassroots with our children in terms of how do we bring them into understanding that they can achieve anything they want, both male and female. When we look at gender, we're not talking about women alone.
Yes.
We're talking about men. Exactly. We're talking about men and women. What this tries to do, and this report has been done since 2019, what it tries to do is really identify where there are systematic biases against women. And so the analysis says that, for example, 9 out of 10 people globally have biases, at least one bias. And I'm sure, they're saying men and women.
Gender bias.
Gender bias against women.
What's the most common? I'm curious.
So let me just give you a little bit of analysis. Now, keep it in mind, Jamaica was not included in the Gender Social Norm Index.
Right.
Okay. It could be for many reasons. Of course, a lot of this we need to have data, but they're part of the Gender Development Index, which I'll give you some analysis. So it says that women generally, almost 50% of people in the world think that men make better politicians than women. And that's both men and women being interviewed. 43% thinks men are better business leaders than women. Of course, I have my own personal opinions, right? And then globally, what hasn't changed for the last 28 years is that you have 11% of heads of states that are women and 9% that are heads of government. Now, keep in mind, there is a difference between a head of state and a government. And for the public, a head of state is more like a ceremonial.
Right.
If we take the example of Barbados, I think her name is Sandra Mason, is the head of state.
Which is the president.
Exactly.
The prime minister kind of role.
Exactly. The prime minister is the one, Mia Mottley,
we have here
who runs.
Governor General.
Exactly. But I wanted to put it in the context of women.
Right.
And so what happens is, that hasn't changed in 28 years. 28 years, we've kept this 11, 10% of women in leadership at leadership
Barely
in
double
governments.
digits.
Simone asked the question, I'll ask it again. Are you surprised? And I say that because we've had women leaders in enough countries, in Africa. We have women in Jamaica, we
Exactly.
had in England, we had in Germany.
Exactly.
So does that surprise you that more people haven't, I don't want to use the bandwagon, but more people haven't seen that this should happen, not only can happen, but should happen because these leaders are...
And what is preventing it?
Right.
Again, I would say our cultural and simply our bringing up.
Same social norms you are.
Social norms. It's social norms
Men
that
are,
we have to
men are
change.
natural leaders. What are some of those social norms?
So think about growing up. First of all, if we talk about women, women are not supposed to be seen as assertive. We're supposed to be very calm. We're not supposed to be competitive. And so you look in a working environment where a man and a woman would be very forceful and they say, oh, she has issues.
Aggressive.
What's her problem? She's too aggressive. But she's assertive.
That Jamaica has is one of the countries with the highest number of managers. And
Exactly.
in the world.
Exactly. So let me just give you a little bit of statistics in terms of globally, 22% of women are in ministerial posts. Jamaica, which I commend very well, has been able to have 26% of women in positions. When you think of parliament seats, globally, it's a little over 25%. Jamaica has done really well as well, 28.5%. Globally, though, Jamaica falls in the 80th rank of 169 countries.
Which is not necessarily good.
Because globally, Rwanda is number one. 55.7% of women in parliament are women in parliament.
That's interesting.
Cuba, 53%.
That's interesting.
Jamaica, in the Caribbean, is number 3.
Who's number 1 and 2?
Take a guess.
Barbados is... No?
Dominica
Is 1?
is 34%, and Grenada is 32%.
You know what hit me when I read this? A staggering 25% of people believe it is justified for a man to beat his wife.
Exactly.
25% believe it is justified for a man to beat his wife.
So that's where we're talking about changing the social norms. But in Jamaica, the 2016 National Survey on Gender Bias, 10% of women feel it's okay.
For them to be beaten.
For them to be
Social
beating.
norms again.
And you know why? The reasons? Listen to some of the reasons. Neglecting the children, burning the food, refusing to have sex with your partner, argues with partner, goes out without telling your partner you're going out. But then all of us should be beaten.
But then also in Jamaica, there's a notion that if your partner doesn't beat you, he doesn't love you.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's not only in Jamaica. There are other countries, of course, and that's where you see the survey where it says 25% of people believe that women should be beaten.
So what do we do now, Madame Denise? Because 10 years of stagnation, we cannot afford another 10. And at the rate we're going, we're going to be here 10 years. What do we do? Social norms take generations to build.
Exactly.
So how are we going to chip away at this to start to see meaningful change occur?
So I'm a mother of 5 children. My youngest 2 are girls. I don't want them to be in a situation, in a world where they can't express who they are. One, my thing is, it's a long-term journey. However, we have women in leadership. We need those women to stand up and fight for more gender equity laws, service provision. We need the schools to focus.
Within a framework where many of the legislators and decision makers are men.
But we have 28%, or the statistics actually said for our records, 31% of women in leadership in Jamaica.
But wouldn't you?
We have leaders. The ILO did a survey in Jamaica. Jamaica has one of the highest. 59% of women are in managerial posts in organizations here in Jamaica.
Most importantly, were that led by men? In other words,
not at the board level. That's the problem.
In other words, were it led by men? In other words, if I get up and say we need more women, if men do that,
of course, we will have a bit of a change as well.
So
but we need
on deck.
exactly. We need men to come forward. Because men, they're fathers, they're uncles. And we need them to come forward. We need women to rise up more. We need other women to support their women in leadership, to really demand that there has to be a change.
It's a word that I don't like. Some people see it as necessary, quota. I don't like it because I think you should be in a position if you deserve
it.
So
Exactly.
I don't think I should put you there because there are no women there. So
Of course not. None of us want to be in a role because we're just
But
women.
how do you feel about that quota? Would it make a difference if you're saying, all right, we have 10 people in parliament, we must have 50% of women?
I think there needs to be some. There needs to be quota, because if there are not quotas, then we won't have had the strides that we're trying to do globally. I think what needs to happen is that we need to make sure we mentor our women and that our women have the capacity to take on those roles. Keep in mind, while we're women, we're also managing other issues at home. And the documents show that you're managing your home as well as you're managing your work. So I think there are opportunities for women. If you don't have quota, think of the quota even in South Africa with apartheid. If you don't have quota, black people will not be in the positions they're in.
They did it in cricket, and they said, well, the cricket team, you need...
Exactly. So you need that, but you need to make sure that people have the qualification and that people are empowered to take on those leadership roles.
Interesting
the opportunities.
We could talk all day about
Yes,
that.
Exactly.
Great to see. Congrats on your rise, and I know you're not finished yet, are you?
No, but thank you. And one of the things I just wanted to mention,
Quickly.
in addition, of course, is this report is available on our UNDP website. It's www.undp.org/Jamaica. But there are women in leadership who've done, we've had women. We have the Queen Nanny of the Maroons, who was a warrior, a Ghanaian warrior. We have Nana Yaa Asantewaa, who was a Ghanaian warrior who fought against the British. We've had The Woman King, the movie that Viola Davis did about women warriors. We've had the movie, The Hidden Figures, about women. So there are evidence of women who have risen up to the challenge and done extremely well. And I think even it showed during the COVID time, the women leaders of the world did a much better job.
We have to go.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Say hi to the family for us.
Thank you very much.
UNDP resident representative for Jamaica, Belize, Bermuda, Cayman,
The whole world. The whole
Bahamas,
world.
the globe,
The whole world.
universe, and also Mars.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. Ms. Denise E. Antonio here with us this morning. What a great discussion.
Fantastic.
More anon.
But it's stupid, to be honest. I don't understand it.
Take about 100 years for us to get gender equality, which is quite depressing.
All right.
Time.
Sit with us for
What's
a minute.
coming up?
Rujan Foundation gives back to Jamaica. Stay with us, please. Soon come.